Hi everybody, I hope you're all keeping really well. So I've decided I'm going to do another video. I have literally just tinted these. They were getting beyond a joke and I couldn't see them, and I thought I'm going to start to shape them, and then thought, well, hey, let's do it in as a home video for you. So I'm going to show you how easy it is to do it at home to shape your own eyebrows until you can get to the salon and be waxed and things like that. So first things first, I'm going to tie my hair up out of the way. Now what I've just done is totally cleanse my face. I've not put anything back on. You don't want to put anything on your face. You want to try and do this with as clean a canvas as possible so that you're not putting any germs in. And I've washed my hands. Like I said, I have tinted these already because my eyebrows are pretty much really pale, so you can't see them normally. I see lots and lots of videos on YouTube and on Facebook where they're doing a demonstration of doing somebody's eyebrows, and they will tint or wax, they will wax or shape the eyebrows first and then tint them. This is a no-no. Don't do that. Don't tint afterwards. You don't tint afterwards. And the reason for that is, as you've waxed or you've plucked, you've left the pores open, so anything that you are doing with a tint, especially since it's going to be peroxide, is going to go straight into those pores. You're more likely to have a really bad reaction, and we don't want that. So tint first, no matter how scary they look, because these look really scary. These for me are very hairy. I know it's difficult to see, but for me this is very hairy. When I tinted them, my daughter actually turned around and said, "Mummy, you look like a boy." And I was like, yeah, thanks for that. I look like Groucho Marx because they're really thick. But I know that on camera this isn't really showing up just how hairy that I am, but I've got some stray ones under here, so I'm going to show you how you can do that. So what I'm going to use is, as a guide, I'm going to give them a little bit of a brush through. I'm not going to show you on both because it's just so time consuming. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you on this eyebrow because I think filming wise it's easier for me to show you on these. So if you're not sure at home what to do yourself, the best thing to do is to get either a brow pencil. I'm going to use pomade, so I'm going to use the Anastasia Beverly Hills pomade. And what you can do is actually set out your shape first so that you don't make any mistakes. So an easy way to align your shape is to use a spatula or a brush or anything that you've got, and you want to just gently push in the side of the nose and then mark on the inside here. That's going to be your first mark. That's where your eyebrows start from. And when you've marked both, this distance here in between your eyebrows should be the same width as your eye. So that's how you can tell if you're doing them the right distance. Now, mine over time, I'm losing my eyebrow hairs like from the front. That's not from me over plucking over years, but that's just as you get older, you start to lose more eyebrow hairs. So I am just loading up the brush. Now this part looks really scary. Obviously you're not going to leave it on, but this is so that you've got a guideline for where you need to go. So I'm just going to come in with where my first line should be. So I'm just putting my first line in there. See, that looks so scary. Right, your next line, you go from the corner of your nose to the corner of your eye. If you put that to there, that gives you where your tail end is. So I know that my eyebrows need to finish there. Okay, so anything from there down, pluck, but that is where you're aiming to go to, all the way to there. Okay, so my light's moving around. Then after that, what you want to do is have a look at your shape. Okay, so as you can see with mine, what I'm going to do is, if you look at what the top is doing, you can usually find where your high point is. Can you see how that's nice and flat? Then I come up to here and this is my high point. So this is almost like my next mark. So I'm just going to mark it from there. Okay, so what it should be is, I think maybe a little further over. If you take some time doing this and learning where you mark it, so I think actually it's about there. That's my high point. It should be 2/3 is your first bit, and then 1/3 of it is your next bit. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come in. If you can see, this is quite hard for me to do, so I'm just going to do it as if I'm doing it in this mirror anyway, and hopefully I can angle so that you can see. So what I'm now going to do is go from there, and I'm going to go up to where my high point is, and then I'm coming down to there. Now, I don't normally draw my eyebrows on like this. I'm not one of those girls that puts her brows on every morning. I do much more subtle than this. But this is going to feel like a really thick, heavy brow. But this is just to give me my shape. So just to check, I'm just going to fill this in so that you can see. So that's my high point. And then I'm going to angle my brush down. And there's my brow. And then take away that. The good thing with these pomades as well is once it's dried on a bit, it doesn't move around so much. So I'm just going to fill in that rather scary brow. Okay. So that I've got the shape that I want. And you basically want it to be quite a straight line up to that point. Then angle your brush so that you come down to that. So if you can see, if it'll focus in, it's pretty much a straight line. I'm just having a look in the mirror. And what you want is for your brow to go from the thickest part, thinner, 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 and then taper off. What I sometimes see when people have done it themselves is they get like a wiggly line. So they'll be like up here, down here, up here, down here, up here, down here. And the reason for that is when they've plucked, they've got nothing as a guide. So the idea behind this is if you do tend to do that, this will give you a guide so that you're not going to be doing, you won't do that, or you're less likely to do that, because what you're more likely to do now is just follow the shape that you've made. So I can actually see now all my hairs underneath that really need a bit of help and they need removing. Now, some of you might have longer eyebrow hairs. So what you can do at this point is you can just push them up, and you can actually, anything that is sitting above this line, if you want to use the spoolie, you can actually hold the spoolie there and then just gently trim with some little scissors. Okay, and then what you do is you do the same, is you brush downwards, and then any really long hairs, you just trim them, and that's how you can trim your hairs so that they will sit much better. Okay, so I'm going to get some, I've got my tweezers here, so sterilize these after every time that I use them. I've got slanted scissors which make it a little bit easier to grab with. Now sometimes you can find that over time, have you ever found that when you're trying to pull and tweeze, you're not grabbing the hairs and you sometimes slide out of the tweezers? What you can do, grab a nail file and actually file the surfaces, the two surfaces that actually come in contact with each other. If you just use a nail file and just very carefully file the metal, what you'll do is you will resharpen them. And so sometimes when we drop them over time, or the way that we use them and the way we're pushing more on one end than the other, means they don't come in contact, so the hair slides through. So now you can actually file that and do that. Right, so now here we go. Top tip, do not start from the front. The amount of people that I see that start from the front, and this is where wiggly eyebrows come from. If you start from the end and you work your way in, you are less likely to go pluck, 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 pluck. Oh my God, I'm all the way up here. What do I do? Come back down again, start again. I'm all the way up here. If you start from the end and you come inwards, you are far less likely to take off your eyebrows, and you're actually more likely to follow what the natural shape is doing bit by bit. So always start this end, not this end. So I'm just going to show you. And what you want to do is you want to, between two fingers, pull the hair really, really tight. The tighter that you pull it, the cleaner it's going to come out and possibly hurt a little less. Now, I'm not going to lie, I'm probably going to be a baby. I normally wax mine all in one go and it's done. So if I start sneezing, I really apologise, because I'm no good at this. I really am no good at this. I'm just going to move my mirror a little closer and I'm going to try and do this so you can still hear me. So what you want to do is you grab the hairs, not in the shape. I won't lie, this blooming well hurts. Okay, and then you just gently tweezer, still keeping the skin, as tight as you can. Now, instead of the tweezers being like that, I'm trying to angle them like that. You want to grab, you should be able to feel the tweezers on your skin, and you're trying to grab as near to the root as possible. That way then, oh, that's a lot of hairs. That way then you're getting the hairs. If you grab from the very end and you pull, and you know, when you can feel your skin like doing that and pulling and bouncing, you're much more likely to just snap the hair instead of pulling it out from the root. So you really need to go right to the root, and then see how I'm coming up and I'm following the shape that I've done. Actually, this isn't as bad as I thought it was going to. I thought it was really going to hurt because I have not plucked in ages. Okay, so when you come to the top, I'm just going to pull that really, really tight. I'm still mangling my tweezers a little bit differently now, and I'm just taking away from anywhere that's not in that shape. Just gently pulling them out. This can sometimes take a little bit of hand-eye coordination to do. It can be a bit awkward, but it's a lot easier when you're not trying to film it and see what you're doing at the same time. Okay, so getting a little messy. Harder to do at the front, but you don't have to pull it as tight at the front because the skin here is a little tighter anyway, but it is harder to do. And if you lift the tweezers upwards, you're more likely to grab just the few hairs that you need. That one and that one. And then come around the front. Obviously I'm making a right mess. This stuff usually doesn't move. And then same again, just tweezer in there. And then you see any stray ones that are left. This wasn't as bad as I thought. I thought I'd be sneezing and everything. I'm such a baby when it comes to causing myself pain, so I do prefer to wax, just so it's all done in one. All done in one. I like it done in one. I do miss the salon, and I miss salon life, and how easy and quick it is. This, doing it at home, is not cutting the mustard for me. It's time consuming. Okay, so I'm happy with that. It does sting a little bit, but that's okay. Okay, so I am going to take off. I'm just going to wipe off that with a damp cotton pad. Just get all that off. Still looks a little scary because I think some of the pomade's not going to come off. It's not going to all come off, but I'm happy with that. That's much better. Much better. Okay, right, now do not be putting coconut oil on or moisturizer or anything like that. Remember what I said about the pores being open, so you don't want to be putting anything onto this. Leave it until tomorrow. Don't put any makeup on. I do see on videos where they've basically shaped someone's eyebrows and then they'll go in with concealer. Big no, leave it off. You don't want anything. If you do put anything on, make sure that it's specifically designed for an after wax lotion or something like that, because your pores are still going to be open until the next day. So as regards to, I don't need to, but if you do need to take any from the top, if you do have stray hairs, make sure that they are outside of your hairline that you drew on. What you don't want to do is start taking from the top. If you start shaping from the top, it can make you look like you're frowning because you're actually taking away from the shot. You want to lift the eyebrow as much as possible, which is why we always say don't pluck from the top. You don't want to shape from the top. Okay, right, so lovely ladies, that's how you do a very, very simple eyebrow shape without messing up your the natural shape and a wiggly line. And I'm going to leave you now, and I'm going to go and do the other one. Bye.